بشكركم على وقتكم وتسمعوني. اليوم معنا برنامج كثير حلو هون مع الطراز ال 2015 لفورد اكسبديشن. رح يكون برنامج حافل جدا، بقى ان شاء الله تكون تعجبكم. الفكره هي الطراز الجديد لفورد اكسبديشن 2015 هو اقوى واكثر قدره من طرازات فورد اكسبديشن اللي رح تتضمن كمان تقنيه الاكسبديشن انجن يلي رح تكون مثل ثوره بهالتقنيه، ورح تكون دلاله على المستقبل نظام المحركات اللي رح نجيبها بالتشكيل موديلات فورد. فهي اهم نقطه هي مثل ما انتم بعدكم قالوا امبارح انه كيف رح نقنع الزبون انه بين ليقتنع انه كيف ينقل من 8 سلندر ل 6 سلندر. واهم شيء هو انه تجربوا الطرازين الجداد. واليوم رح يكون هذا الهدف من هذا البرنامج، انه رح تجربوا الموديل القديم اللي هو 8 سلندر مع الموديل الجديد اللي هو الاكسبديشن. اهم نقاط يعني مثل ما اريدكم تعرفوا انه التصميم من برا يمكن ريفرش بسيط، بس النقطة المهمة اللي نحن بنحب انه انتم تنقلوها لقراءكم ومتابعينكم انه التغييرات هي من الباطن، واللي هو اهم شيء من حيث التقنيات والاداء، ورح تشوفوها قريبا. بقى وما رح نطول كثير عليكم، ما عندنا كثير وقت لانه لازم نبدا السواقه الساعه 10. رح بعرفكم على فورد اندرسون اللي هو مدير التسويق عنا في شركه فورد لمنطقه الشرق الاوسط وشمال افريقيا. رح يحكيكم شوي عن الطراز الجديد، واكيد زياد دلالة هو رئيس فريق المهندسين للشرق الاوسط اللي بيهتم بالتسويق بالمنطقه بكل التطوير المخصصه لمنطقه الخليج بالتحديد. رح يكون كمان يحكيكم عن التقنيات وشو عم بتصير من حيث تطوير المنتجات هون عندنا بالمنطقه. Paul Anderson, Director for Marketing, Middle East and North Africa, he will talk you through and introduce you the new exhibition.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's great to have you here. I look around the table, I see a few old friends here. I see a few of you I just met a few weeks ago in Saudi at our media events, and some of you I'm meeting for the first time. So I'm looking forward to getting to know you better today. I know this is going to be a disappointment to you. We had the most awesome, like 2.5-hour PowerPoint presentation ready to give you just a real deep dive into Expedition. But given the fact that, well, we're starting a little late, we know you want to drive, we've cut it down to about 15 minutes. So if you'll try to hold your disappointment back and you don't get to sit here for 2.5 hours, we'll appreciate that. But we do want to take just a minute and tell you what it is you're going to be driving today. Because there are some finer things that we think it's important that you know and you pay attention to when you're driving. When we set out to build the next generation of any vehicle, when our designers, our engineers, and our product marketing team sit down together, they first and foremost always start with the customer. Who is the customer? What do they want? What matters most to them? What drives their purchase behavior? And so I want to just take a second and share with you just a brief overview of who the customer for Expedition is. So when we think about who we're targeting, and you'll see in just a minute how our design is linked to this customer, how the technologies that we put in the vehicle link to this customer, how the convenience features that we put into this vehicle are based on this specific customer's needs and wants. And that is really, really important. So when you look at our customer, not surprising, they're 35 to 45-year-olds, married. This is a family vehicle. We know that both in all of our major markets, Saudi specifically, that this segment is all about families. They're looking for a trusted provider. They're traditional, they're authentic. They're not flashy and splashy. They are very traditional in their thinking and their wants and their needs. The things that they value most is family. Again, not surprising in Saudi, which is so family oriented, but they're also very active in other aspects of their life, particularly when it comes to working or spending time in the outdoors. Again, family is focused, so safety, security of the family is very important. And again, you're going to see how that comes to play in our selection of features and technologies to put in this vehicle. What they're really looking for in a vehicle this size, again, not so surprising, is a place to put people plus cargo. This is not an either-or vehicle. It has to be an and vehicle. I have to fill 3 rows, and I still have to have space in the back for our stuff, because as a family, we're planning to go play. We're planning to use this vehicle as a recreational vehicle as well. But as we look at all of the data that we have on customers who buy in this segment, some of the key purchase drivers are these: comfort and roominess. How roomy is it? How comfortable? Again, you're going to see how that comes to play. They do want a strong presence. They want a vehicle that looks confident, that is an expression of who they are and how they feel about themselves. And the vehicle has to be supremely capable. And we are going to talk a lot about capability, and you're going to experience capability today on the drive with this vehicle. Now, when you look at what's happened in this segment over the last 5 or 6 years, the sales volume in this segment has grown tremendously. It's up 60% since between 2008 and 2014, and as a percent of the industry has grown as well. And we have been a big part of that at Ford, as Expedition sales have grown from a 9% share in 2009 to a 28% share just last year. Expedition is the right vehicle for this customer, and it's resonating with those customers. Now, when you look at the role that Expedition plays in our portfolio, it really sets the tone for our entire lineup of SUVs and CUVs, which are all about capability, flexibility for the customer. It's obviously the biggest, but it's a 3-row. It's the only body-on-frame vehicle we have left, and it really makes a statement, again, about capability, and there's a reason that it continues to be a body-on-frame vehicle. The people that are looking for this, again, looking for fully capable SUV that has commanding presence and prestige, and it has to be anything but a minivan. It cannot be a minivan. So when we think about why this vehicle is so important to us at Ford, for a number of reasons. The volume is important. Clearly, we make money on this vehicle, but we have a great heritage in this segment. In fact, the Expedition came out in 1997 and really defined the large SUV segment at the time. There were a couple of competitors there, but they weren't high volume. Expedition was when it came on the market, really drove the growth of this segment around the world. This happens to be, and you may not know this, but for Ford, the most recognized nameplate, along with Explorer, in the Middle East for us. And it is the nameplate, along with Explorer, that most drives customer favorability of the Ford brand. So it's a very, very important vehicle for us. This vehicle sets the standard for comfort and convenience, and that is because of that target customer and what drives them to buy what they buy. So it's the only vehicle that had a full-size SUV with independent rear suspension. Why do we care about that? Well, that independent rear suspension gives us a lot. Besides great comfort and handling and the ability to add CCD, continuously controlled dampening, which we have now in this vehicle, it's what allows us to have that completely flat load floor. It's what allows us to actually have that full flat seating that automatically folds into the back of the vehicle. It's what allows us to have a 3rd row of seating that's just as comfortable as the second, with full leg space that allows an adult to sit back here comfortably. It's the only vehicle in its segment that can comfortably seat 8 adults. So 3 areas of focus. As we've moved to this new version of the Expedition, this new freshening that we're introducing that you're going to drive today, 3 things that we've been focused on: design, performance, and technology. When it comes to the design, you'll look at that vehicle and some may say, I don't see a lot of difference. The reality is, if you line it up next to the old one, you will see quite a significant difference. But in the end, what we wanted to do was freshen it, but maintain the traditional look that actually customers in this segment continue to look for. They are traditionalists. And so we're not looking for a splashy, big make a statement vehicle. This is about looking fresh and yet maintaining our traditional heritage. So we have a lot of new content on the exterior. The interior is completely new. The instrument panel, the clusters, the fabrics, the seats, the trim on the doors, all new on the inside. And again, you'll experience that today. When it comes to the capability of the vehicle and the technologies that we've chosen to put on here, there's a whole array of new technologies that this version of Expedition has, the new 2015, that the old did not. From progressive range select mode and hill start assist, rear view camera, a new off-road display which shows you the angle and tip of your vehicle, so when you are playing in your vehicle and using it for recreation and are off-road or in the sand, you can actually monitor exactly what's happening with the vehicle. Hill descent control included. Ford has become synonymous with great technology and making technology available to the masses, not just to luxury buyers. And we've included all of the latest technologies in the 2015 Explorer. Rear seat entertainment systems, sync with My Ford Touch, the new 8-inch color screen, continually controlled dampening. A lot of these things Z will talk to you about in greater detail. But power assist steering, blind spot information system, roll stability control. Remember, safety is critical because this is a family vehicle. So all of the latest driver assist technologies are now found in the 2015 Expedition. And for that discriminating customer who really does want to make a statement, we've added the all-new Platinum series for the very first time, which is the ultimate in mid-size luxury, or in full-size luxury. A couple of pictures here. You're going to get a chance to drive a couple of these today, so you'll see what the interior looks like. You'll really be able to experience the look, the feel, as well as the technologies that are found in this vehicle. But it is a beautiful, beautiful full-size SUV. So with that, I'm going to turn the time over to Z, because in the end, this vehicle has to go. And we are introducing, I mentioned earlier that we at Ford are all about technology and applying that technology to all aspects of the vehicle, including the powertrain, and providing a new and unique powertrain for this segment that uses technology to deliver far more capability to the customer, but yet get better fuel economy. It's again a no trade-off situation. So Z will hand the time over to Z, and he'll take you through what you're going to find in the powertrain of the vehicle you're going to drive today. Thanks again for being here.
Yeah. Thanks, Good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing? So, before I start, I want to ask a question to the audience. When you say expedition in the kingdom, Saudi Arabia, what comes to mind in one word? Can you give me one word?
Spacious.
Spacious.
And expensive. Price.
Value.
Price. Value.
Price, value. Anything else? I'm asking this question because at the end of the day, I want to ask you the question again. I'd like to hear your feedback. So before and then after. Well, I won't take long, so let's get started. So, what is new for 2015 versus the previous vehicle? Right. But before I start there, I want to go back to 2012. So, in 2012, a team of engineers from the US, with our engineering team based in the region, went into Saudi Arabia and spent 3 weeks. We spent 3 weeks in Jeddah, Riyadh, and Dammam. And the objective was to ride with customers. So we got customers coming in at the dealership, current Expedition customers, and we went for ride and drive. Each ride and drive took between a half hour and an hour. All we were there for was just to listen. What is the Saudi customer looking for in products and features and performance? That information then goes back into the product development team, the design team, and engineering, the Expedition for this market. So if I look at the big pictures, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on each one of them, right? The objective is for you to experience them when you go out in the vehicles. So these are just sort of like highlights to remember them. All new EcoBoost engine, V6 that everybody's heard about and been talking about, right? Brand new electronic power steering, right? Take you a couple of years back. Back in 2005, 2006, you could not technically have electronic power assist steering in a vehicle this size, right? We started on EPAS on Expedition back in 2008. It shows you how long it takes time to actually introduce and engineer some of these technologies to bring them to the market, right? Hill descent control and hill start assist, which Paul touched on, and you get a chance to see it when you go out on the vehicle. And then a 6-speed automatic transmission, what we call the 6R80. So I want to pause there for a second. So what do I mean by 6R80? What's different here is you will get on the cluster display, it'll show you the gears 1 through 6. So you will always know what gear you're in. What you could also do is go into manual mode and then lock the gear. So for example, I'm driving off-road and I only want to stay between first, second, and third. I can go in and I can tell it, do not shift out of these 3 gear ranges. What that gives you is power and delivery when you want it, as quick as you want it. So that's new on the Expedition, wasn't there before. It's also obviously on our F-150 products being introduced. CCD, which is continuous control damping. So that's the shock absorbers and the suspension, right? That comes in the Platinum and the 22-inch wheels. And then synonymous with Ford now, my Ford Touch, which is on Expedition for the first time, right, with the HN display. What's new, or what you've probably seen at Ford Motor Company over the last year and a half, is our cluster display, so the driver information, all in English and in Arabic. And all new on 2015 is brand new navigation system on the Expedition. The Platinum series and then other key features such as bliss and ambient lighting and so on. The 3.5 liter V6, which I think a lot of people are here to experience and feel. So where did we start in 2012, 2013? Engineering Expedition for the market, right? 3 key items that always resonate in this region is durability, reliability. Customer does not want to get stranded in the middle, right? So the performance has to be right. Engine power and performance, which we internally call performance feel, which is the feel when you get into the pedal, when the power comes in and how soon it comes in, right? And then quietness. Number 1 item in the kingdom when you talk to customers is they want a quiet vehicle, right? Now, we are challenged in this region in the fact that the conditions really make it tough on the vehicle. We've got open plain roads, faster speeds than in other markets, which challenges a vehicle of this size. But I'm actually going to show you some data of the improvements done on that. Expedition has been running in market on prototypes for engineering and validation since summer of 2013. This was the program with the earliest level prototypes to come into the region for testing and validation. It's undergone 2 summer cycles, complete full summer cycles, of which is included Kingdom of Saudi, UAE, and Oman testing. Some numbers to show you what it takes to deliver performance and quality. 1.5 million hours have been spent on a computer looking at this engine. 13 dyno hours, 13,000 dyno hours, right? And this engine already fitted in our F-150, and it's been running for several years. Now, what is different about it is the cooling pack. A redeveloped new cooling pack to go with that engine for this region. Here are some of the features. I'm not going to take you through all of them, right? But this is the extent that we go into when designing, developing an engine for a vehicle that has to be capable to drive off-road, and tow, and do all of that with the conditions we have in the region. What is it about at the end to the customer, right? What is the performance? So here's an overlay that compares the 5.4 V8, right, to the 3.5 V6. 24% improvement in horsepower. 26% performance in torque. But it's not just about peak performance, it's about the delivery of the performance and the torque throughout the range. So under all conditions, when you demand the power and the torque, it's there, and it's more than the V8, the outgoing V8. A couple more slides. Quietness. We talked about it a little earlier, right? Here is a comparison that shows the Tahoe, the Land Cruiser, and the Expedition. And we're looking at two items here, what we call idle vibration, so the vehicle's idling. We're looking at how much vibration, how much resonance there is. And this is a comparison that shows you, at the driver, which is the seat you're going to be in today, what is my tactile vibration difference between the vehicles? And you can obviously see Expedition way lower. So significant time invested in refining MVH, what we call noise, vibration, and harshness in the vehicle. Because the Saudi customer has continuously said, that is very important for me. I want it quiet. I want it very refined. On the other hand, we've got something called AI, Articulation Index. Higher is better. That's another measurement of sound and refinement. Again, you can see throughout the range, Expedition performs. This data is collected in the US and collected in Saudi on prototype vehicles. So we're looking at competitors, apples to apples. A North American Tahoe and a GCC Tahoe. But some of the just the quick content you're going to look at: acoustic glass on the sides, upgraded carpet. So then when people ask, well, what's the difference? I want you to think differently. I get asked the question, what different did we do for the Expedition in Saudi or a GCC versus North America? I usually say that's not a good question. I want you to reverse the question. What have we learned from this market that we've put in the Expedition, the Navigator, for global release? And when you see, you're going to see acoustic glass, denser carpet, and complete new sound packaging. We've changed the sound packaging between the engine compartment and the interior, technology and materials. A recap, just to summarize, think about it when you go out there and you drive today, right? Improved performance, with improved fuel economy, with improved MVH, meeting all GCC standards. And by GCC, I obviously mean GSO, SASO standards, and internal Ford standards set for the region, and that has been evolved since 2010 and 2011. Other than that, let's go drive, unless anybody has any questions.
A little bit tough questions might be, but I was tempted with the new technology and the EcoBoost and all the series, all the sexiness of the technology was installed in this engine. So my question is coming is not this car or this SUV falling short of new technology or do this. Actually, my question falls on the area which why not go the extra mile, i.e. Since I can see a lot of better performance versus lesser fuel consumption and all the added goodies with it. So my question is pretty much on this region. When are we going to see an 8-speed gearbox, 8 to 9, hybrid, a little bit to help with the fuel consumption again, or the CO2s if they're going to be many times down the road. Pretty much this is the main. There are some other optional ideas, might be a little bit fancy or sexy a little bit more, but this is the core question.
Let me touch on the transmission first. So, might be a little long answer, but I'll answer your question in an extended manner. The GCC customer, not just Saudi Arabia, is very particular about smoothness. So it's about quietness and smoothness. They're very particular that when the automatic transmission shifts, it be very smooth regardless of gear. Typically, we get a lot of customers in the after sales. If he just feels a shift or a bump, he'll come in saying there's something wrong with my transmission.
Yeah.
That heavily influences in engineering and design and development. Yes, some competitors out there have gone out and added more gears, but what we've noticed is when they've added more gears, right, they've released them into the market maybe a little too early, and now you are shifting gears more, and you're more susceptible to having shift events. So at the end, although the gears are there, in the mind of the customer, they're not as helpful, and they feel them more. So you're actually seeing more complaints in the ownership life cycle of the vehicle of the added gears than less. All I can tell you is we are at Ford working on it, right? But we'll bring it to market when it's refined and well and meets customer expectations. So for me, it's more about organic evolution of the 6-speed than rushing and introducing more gears that is not ready yet. That was the transmission one.
The
Hybrid one.
Yes.
We are working on hybrid technology and globally. And this region is being investigated. So I'll just say hold tight. I can't say more than that.
بس على السريع مثل ما قال زي انه سلاسة القيادة قدرة وأداء المحرك الكومفورت الراحة بالسيارة على الطريق واكيد اهم شيء نسبة الضجيج اللي اقل من الطراز القبل. فهون نقاط لازم تخلوها ببالكم انتم عم بتسوقوا الموديل القديم مع الجديد ورح نبلش.
Gentlemen, we'll try and make this as simple as possible because it's a fairly lengthy day. We've got quite a lot to do. We've created a program whereby if you follow it, you will get to do everything in both cars that has been talked about. So you will actually be able to experience everything both in the outgoing car and in the new car. But you're all big boys, so if you don't want to follow it, that's kind of okay as well. We don't mind. But what we do need to do is to try and make sure that we all stay together. So the cars have been grouped together as a 2015 model and a 2014 model for 4 people. So if you can rotate within the 2 cars, then you'll get to experience everything. We've got twisty stuff, we've got motorway, we've got gravel, we've got rock, we've got a little bit of sand in the afternoon. So you'll get to experience everything and see how things are going. At the back, Peter Gladstone is going to be following us through on chase. If you have any difficulties, ask him. He'll be at the back and he'll help. Rayhan, who's standing next to him, is going to be driving the camera car, keeping all our photographers happy and hopefully you as well. If you see Rayhan overtaking you, and he is the only expedition with Abu Dhabi number plates, then it's